You sit in the silence of your own mind, a hollow echo where passion once roared. The world moves around you, but inside there's nothing, just a vast, gray expanse of numbness. Have you ever felt this weight, this paralyzing emptiness that pins you to your seat, steals your drive, and dulls your fire? It's not pain, not anger, not even sadness. It's the absence of feeling, a void that whispers, "Why bother?" Yet beneath this stillness, a force stirs, like a dormant volcano, silent for years. There is power within you, immense, untapped, waiting to erupt. In this moment, as we begin this journey of when you feel nothing, force yourself. Let's confront the weight of emptiness. Let's uncover why it grips you, how it halts your steps, and, most importantly, how to awaken the molten strength buried deep within. You are not done. You are not defeated. You are simply paused, and it's time to press forward. Picture yourself in a small, dimly lit room. On the table before you lies a canvas, once a playground for your wildest visions. Brushes rest beside it, untouched, their bristles stiff with neglect. You used to paint with abandon, colors exploding, emotions spilling onto every inch of white. Each stroke was a declaration of who you were. But now, you stare at the empty space, and it stares back, mocking your silence. Your hands tremble, not with fear, but with a strange, heavy nothingness. "What's the point?" a voice mutters inside. Days turn to weeks, and the canvas remains blank, a monument to a passion you no longer feel. This isn't just about painting, it's about the dreams you've abandoned, the projects you've shelved, the parts of yourself you've let fade. Maybe it was a novel you started, a business idea you sketched, or a skill you swore to master, but the emptiness crept in, a thief in the night, stealing your spark. You sit there, frozen, as life moves on without you. The weight of doing nothing feels heavier than the effort of trying. You tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes. The canvas gathers dust, and so does your spirit. Yet, beneath this stillness, something rumbles. A dormant volcano sleeps within you. That passion, that drive, it hasn't vanished. It's buried under layers of ash and doubt. Remember the first time you painted, how your heart raced with every stroke? That fire still exists. It's not gone. It's waiting. You must force yourself to pick up the brush, to make one mark, however small. That single act is the tremor that awakens the volcano. It's the spark that can ignite an eruption of purpose. The lesson is clear. Even when you feel nothing, action is the key that unlocks your hidden power. Move, and the feeling will follow. Now imagine lacing up your running shoes, the familiar weight of them on your feet. You stand at the door, staring at the path you used to conquer every morning. The rhythm of your steps, the rush of wind against your face, the steady beat of your heart. It was your sanctuary. But today, you can't move. A personal loss, a loved one gone, a relationship shattered, has drained you. It's not just sadness, it's a void, a numbness that makes every step feel pointless. Why run when nothing matters, you think? The shoes stay on, but you turn back, collapsing onto the couch as the world outside fades into a blur. This isn't just about a missed run, it's about the routines you've broken, the habits you've let slip, the self you've neglected. Loss can hollow you out, leaving a shell where determination once lived. You avoid the things that once grounded you, not because they're hard, but because you can't feel their worth anymore. The emptiness becomes a cage, and you're its prisoner, watching days slip by through iron bars of inaction. Every morning, you see those shoes by the door, a silent reminder of who you used to be. But you don't move. You can't. Or can you? Beneath the surface of this numbness, a force brews, like a volcano, long dormant, Your strength waits for a trigger. That first step out the door, though it feels like dragging stone, is the quake that stirs your core. Force yourself to run, even if it's just to the end of the street. Feel your legs protest, your lungs burn, and then feel something else. A flicker, a pulse. The volcano within begins to rumble. The lesson shines through. When emptiness grips you, action is your rebellion. Take the step. The eruption of purpose will follow. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to move. Let's pause and look deeper into this weight of emptiness. What is it, really, this void that halts your hands and stills your feet? It's not a storm that rages or a wound that bleeds. It's a quiet thief, slipping into your soul unnoticed. It's the absence of drive, the silence where your inner voice once shouted, "Go!" It wraps around you like a fog, obscuring the path ahead, making every choice feel futile. Have you ever wondered why it's so heavy, this nothingness? It's because it tricks you into believing you're powerless, that the fire within has died. But that's a lie. You are not empty. You are dormant, a volcano beneath a crust of stillness, brimming with molten potential. Think of emptiness as a frozen river. On the surface, it's lifeless, unmoving, a sheet of ice that seems eternal. But beneath, currents still flow, waiting for the thaw. Your passion, your purpose, they haven't vanished. They've been buried by time, by loss, by doubt. The weight of feeling nothing is not a sentence, it's a challenge. It dares you to crack the ice, to force movement when every fiber of your being resists. Why do we let this void rule us? Why do we sit staring at blank canvases or untied shoes when we know action is the only way out? The truth is, emptiness isn't your enemy. It's your signal. It's the earth trembling before the volcano erupts. Recognize it for what it is, a call to awaken. This isn't about waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning from a clear sky. It's about understanding that feeling nothing is a temporary state, a shadow cast over your inner light. You hold the power to dispel it, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate acts. The volcano within doesn't need a cataclysm to awaken. It needs only a spark. So now stand, move, force yourself through the fog. The heat of purpose will rise, melting the ice, shaking the earth. You are not empty. You are poised for eruption. Consider this. Emptiness is not a flaw, but a forge. It shapes you, if you let it. When you feel nothing, it's as if the world has stripped you bare, leaving you raw and exposed. But in that vulnerability lies strength. Think of a mountain, standing silent under a gray sky. It seems lifeless, unmoving, a monolith of stone. Yet, beneath its surface, tectonic forces grind and shift, building pressure for an upheaval that can reshape landscapes. That's you, in this moment of nothingness. The weight you feel is not a burden, it's the pressure of potential, waiting to break free. How many times have you let this void define you? How many dreams have you buried beneath its weight, convincing yourself they're gone forever? The truth cuts sharp. Emptiness is not the end of your story. It's the tension before the climax. It's the silence before the roar. You've felt nothing before, and you've survived it. Remember those moments when you pushed through, when you wrote one more line, took one more step, spoke one more word despite the hollow ache. Those were the tremors of your inner volcano, proof that power still burns within. Emptiness tests your resolve, but it cannot extinguish your core. You are built to endure, to rise, to erupt. So, don't fear this void. Don't let it fool you into stillness. It's a crucible, heating the raw ore of your spirit into something unbreakable. Force yourself to act, even when the weight feels crushing. Each movement, however small, is a crack in the mountain's surface, a release of the energy beneath. You don't need to feel passion to start. You need only to move. The eruption will come. The landscape of your life will shift. Trust in the pressure building inside you. It's not emptiness, it's power waiting to be unleashed? Now let's turn philosophy into action. When the weight of emptiness pins you down, you don't need to wait for a surge of inspiration. You need a plan, a deliberate push to awaken the volcano within. Start here. When you feel nothing, force yourself to take one small step. If you're staring at a blank canvas, pick up a brush and make a single stroke. It doesn't have to be art, it just has to be movement. If you're avoiding your run, step outside for 1 minute. Just stand there, breathe, and return if you must. That one act is the first tremor. It's proof you're not powerless. Next, anchor yourself with a reminder. Write down one reason why you started, why you painted, why you ran, why you dreamed. Keep it where you can see it. A sticky note on your desk, a photo by your door. When emptiness whispers, why bother? Let that reason shout back. Then, set a timer for 5 minutes. Commit to working on your craft or taking a step for just that long. 5 minutes is nothing, but it's everything. It's the crack in the earth, the first sign of eruption. Often, you'll find yourself continuing beyond the timer, the volcano stirring as you move. Finally, speak to yourself with authority. Stand in front of a mirror and say, I don't feel it, but I'll do it. Say it loud. Say it until you believe it. Your voice is a command, a call to the power beneath your stillness. These steps aren't magic. They're matches struck in the dark. They ignite the fire within. When you feel nothing, don't wait for feeling. Force the action. The heat will rise. The eruption will come. Here's another set of tools to break through the void. When emptiness grips you, create a ritual of movement. Choose one action tied to your goal, mixing paint, tying your shoes, opening a notebook, and do it every day. No matter how you feel, make it non-negotiable, a sacred act. This isn't about results, it's about showing up. Each time you perform this ritual, you're chipping away at the crust of numbness, sending shock waves through the dormant volcano of your spirit. Then, track your defiance. Keep a simple log. Mark an X on a calendar for every day you force yourself to act, even if it's just for a moment. Watch those marks grow. They're not just symbols, they're evidence of your power over the void. When doubt creeps in, look at that calendar and see your strength staring back. Finally, find one person to share your struggle with. Tell them, I feel nothing, but I'm pushing anyway. Their nod, their word of encouragement, is a gust of wind fanning your inner flame. You don't need to feel motivated to start. You just need to force the first step. The volcano within will awaken. Keep moving, and the eruption of purpose will shake your world. As we close this exploration of the weight of emptiness, let's hold fast to the truth we've uncovered. Feeling nothing is not the end, but the beginning of your awakening. You've seen it in the artist staring at a blank canvas, the runner frozen by loss, and in your own moments of stillness. Emptiness is a lie, a shadow over the immense power within you. Like a dormant volcano, your strength sleeps beneath the surface, waiting for the tremor of action to set it free. The key lesson is this: when you feel nothing, force yourself to move, for movement is the spark that ignites your purpose. We've walked through the fog of numbness together, felt its weight, and learned to defy it. You've armed yourself with steps to stir the volcano, small acts, rituals, reminders, and the power of your own voice. These are your tools to shatter the silence. As we prepare to journey deeper in the next section, carry this insight. You are not empty. You are brimming with potential, ready to erupt. So, stand now. Take the first step, however small. Let it shake the earth beneath your feet. Repeat this to yourself. Let it echo in your soul until the fire rises. Force the tremor. Your eruption is inevitable. Picture yourself aboard a weathered ship, surrounded by a frozen sea. The ice stretches endlessly, a silent barrier that grips your hull, daring you to surrender. You feel nothing, no wind in your sails, No fire in your chest. The world seems to whisper, stop, rest, let the coal win. But deep within, a voice growls, move, force yourself, crack the ice with your will, for progress demands a push against unyielding resistance. This is the essence of your journey in When You Feel Nothing, Force Yourself. In this moment, in the first push against silence, you'll uncover why action, even when your heart is numb, is the only way to break through. You're not just surviving the frost, you're forging a path. Are you ready to grip the helm and strike the first blow? Let's shatter the silence together. Imagine yourself as a writer, once brimming with ideas, now staring at a blank screen for weeks. Your mind is a barren tundra, each thought buried under layers of frost. You've written nothing, felt nothing. The stories that once danced in your soul are silent, and the weight of that void presses down like a glacier. You sit at your desk, fingers hovering over the keys, tempted to walk away again. What's the point, you mutter? But something stirs, a faint memory of why you started. You force yourself to type one sentence. Just one. It's clumsy, raw, barely a whisper of your old fire. Yet, as the words appear, a tiny crack forms in the ice of your mind. You pause, then type another, and another. The rhythm is slow, painful, like a ship grinding against frozen waves. But it's movement. Days later, you look back and see pages where there was once only emptiness. That first sentence, forced through the silence, was your rebellion against the void. This is the lesson of the frozen sea. Progress doesn't wait for inspiration to warm your bones. It demands force, a deliberate push against the resistance of nothingness. You didn't feel like writing, but you acted. And in that act, you carved a path forward. That single sentence was your hammer striking the ice, proving that even the smallest effort can begin to shatter the stillness. The takeaway here is clear. When you feel nothing, the first push, no matter how small, ignites the possibility of return. Now picture yourself as a student, lost in a fog of disconnection. Classes, once a source of wonder, feel like a chore. You sit in your room, staring at the schedule, knowing you should go but feeling nothing. No curiosity, no drive. The world outside seems muted, as if you're trapped beneath a sheet of ice. Why bother, you think? But a whisper of duty, or perhaps defiance, nudges you. You force yourself to stand, to pack your bag, to walk to that lecture hall. Each step is heavy, like dragging a ship through a frozen harbor. You sit in the back, expecting to drift through the hour unnoticed. Then, a single idea from the professor pierces the haze. A question, a concept, a spark. It's faint, but it's there. You jot it down, and for the first time in weeks, a flicker of interest warms your chest. That one class, attended despite the void, becomes the first crack in your frozen sea. Here, again, the metaphor holds. Progress demands force against unyielding resistance. You didn't want to go. You felt nothing pulling you there. Yet, by pushing through, by showing up, you opened a door to possibility. That spark of curiosity wasn't guaranteed, but it couldn't have emerged if you hadn't moved. The lesson echoes. When numbness grips you, force the first step. The smallest action can begin to melt the frost, revealing a path you couldn't see before. Let's dive deeper into this truth. Why must you force yourself when you feel nothing? Consider the ship on the frozen sea. It doesn't glide effortlessly. It groans. It struggles. It shatters the ice with every inch gained. That's you, in the moments when your spirit feels hollow. The world expects you to wait for motivation, for a sudden burst of passion to propel you forward. But what if that warmth never comes? How many visions have you abandoned, waiting for the perfect moment? The reality is stark. Progress isn't a gift, it's a conquest. When you feel nothing, that void isn't a sign to stop, it's a call to push harder. Numbness is not your enemy, it's the ice testing your resolve. Force is your tool, your battering ram against the silence. Think of force not as violence, but as intention. It's the decision to move when every fiber of you screams to stay still. It's the courage to act when the outcome is uncertain. Like a ship's captain, you must trust that beyond the ice lies open water, even when you can't see it. The frozen sea of your mind or heart will resist, but resistance is not defeat. It's the raw material of your transformation. Every push, every forced step carves a channel through the cold. So, ask yourself, what are you waiting for? The ice won't break itself. You must wield the force of your will to claim the journey ahead. Now, let's reflect on what lies beneath that frozen sea. You might feel nothing on the surface, but beneath the ice, a current still flows, a quiet pulse of purpose waiting to be unleashed. Numbness tricks you into believing the water's gone, that your drive has vanished forever. But it hasn't. It's merely hidden, locked beneath the frost of doubt or fatigue. When you force yourself to act, you're not creating something from nothing. You're tapping into that buried current. Each push, each forced effort, chips away at the barrier until the stream breaks free. Have you ever considered how close you might be to that breakthrough? How many times have you stopped, unaware that one more strike would have set you free? Think of yourself as a sculptor facing a block of stone. The masterpiece is already within, but it's invisible until you strike, until you force your chisel against the unyielding surface. Feeling nothing doesn't mean the art isn't there. It means you must work harder to reveal it. The frozen sea is the same. Your passion, your purpose, your strength, they're not gone. They're waiting for you to push through the silence. So, don't fear the void. Don't dread the effort. Force yourself, not out of desperation, but out of faith in what lies beneath. The current is there. The open sea awaits. All it takes is your relentless will to shatter the ice. How do you begin when you feel nothing? It's simpler than you think, yet harder than it sounds. Start with one action, just one. Don't aim for a grand leap. Aim for a single step. If you're a writer frozen by a creative drought, sit down and commit to writing one sentence. If you're a student detached from learning, force yourself to attend one class or read one page. The key is to narrow your focus to a single, manageable act. Why? Because that act, no matter how small, is your first strike against the ice. It's proof that you can move, even when the cold grips you. Here's your guide. Pause before you surrender to the void. Ask yourself, what is the smallest step I can take right now? Write it down if you must. Then, set a timer for 5 minutes and do it. Don't overthink. Don't wait to feel ready. Just act. When it's done, notice the shift, however faint. That tiny victory is a crack in the frozen sea, a signal that you're still in command. Build on it tomorrow with another small push. Force doesn't mean exhausting yourself. It means refusing to let numbness win. One action at a time, you'll carve your path forward. When the void feels overwhelming, anchor yourself to a reason. Numbness erases your why, making every effort seem pointless. Fight back by reminding yourself why you started. Maybe it's a vision of who you want to become, a promise you made, or a quiet refusal to let the cold define you. That reason is your compass when the frozen sea obscures your path. It's the force behind your force, the spark that fuels your push. Try this. Take a moment to write down one reason to keep going. It doesn't need to be profound, just true. Keep it somewhere visible, on your desk, in your pocket, on your phone. When you feel nothing, look at it. Let it ground you. Then, pair it with a small action, one task, one step. If your reason is to inspire others, force yourself to share one idea today. If it's to grow, commit to learning one thing. This anchor turns blind force into purposeful movement. It transforms the grind against the ice into a mission. You're not just pushing, you're steering towards something greater. As we close this chapter of The First Push Against Silence, remember the essence of our journey. When you feel nothing, forcing yourself to act is not just a choice, it's a necessity. You've seen it in the writer who typed one sentence and broke the drought, in the student who showed up and found a spark. You've felt it in the metaphor of the ship grinding through a frozen sea. Where progress demands force against unyielding resistance, the takeaway is undeniable. Action, even in the face of numbness, is the key to shattering the silence and reclaiming your path. You don't need to feel inspired to move. You need to move to rediscover inspiration. Each push, each forced step, is a victory over the void. Now, carry this truth forward. The ice may still surround you, but you've learned how to strike it. As we prepare to dive deeper in the next part of our journey, hold fast to this power. You are the captain of your ship, the breaker of your own barriers. Keep pushing, keep forcing, until the open sea reveals itself. Shatter the ice, your path awaits. Picture a forge in the dead of winter, the air biting with frost, the iron before you cold and unyielding. You stand there, hammer in hand, staring at a piece of metal that refuses to bend, refuses to transform. Your arms are heavy, your spirit numb. Where is the fire that once drove you? This is the moment when you feel nothing, when the spark of passion has dimmed, and yet you must strike. You must force yourself to move, to create heat in the cold. In this section, building heat in the cold, we dive into the heart of sustaining momentum when emotions fail to guide you. It's not about waiting for inspiration to return. It's about forging it through sheer will. You are the blacksmith, and your effort, raw, relentless, and deliberate, will shape the unyielding into something mighty. Let's uncover how to keep striking, even when the forge feels frozen, and rediscover the strength that lies within your grip. Imagine yourself as a writer, a designer, or a strategist, someone whose livelihood depends on creativity. Yet you sit at your desk, staring at a blank screen. The deadlines loom like storm clouds. But inside, there's nothing. No ideas, no drive. Just a hollow ache where inspiration used to burn. You've been here before, haven't you? That moment when the world expects output, but your soul offers silence. This is the cold iron of your craft, unyielding and mocking, but you don't surrender. Instead, you force yourself to build a framework, a rigid schedule that doesn't care if you feel ready. You set the alarm for 6 a.m. You commit to 1 hour of work, no matter how uninspired. You write one sentence, sketch one line, draft one plan. It's mechanical, almost painful, like striking a hammer against stone. Days pass, and the schedule feels like a cage. You question if it's worth it. But then, on the 7th morning, something shifts. A small idea flickers, a sentence that doesn't suck, a design that holds promise. It's not a wildfire of passion, but it's a spark. You keep striking, adhering to the routine, and slowly, the iron begins to glow. The schedule isn't just a structure, it's the bellows breathing life back into your forge. Weeks later, you look at the completed project, a manuscript, a portfolio, a proposal, and realize you've crafted something mighty from nothing. The lesson is clear. When you feel nothing, force yourself to act. Momentum isn't born from emotion. It's hammered into existence through discipline. Like the blacksmith, your persistent strikes transform the cold into heat, the unyielding into purpose. Now picture yourself as a parent, the weight of exhaustion pressing down like a mountain after a long day. Your body aches, your mind is a fog, and all you crave is rest. But there, in the kitchen, are hungry faces, your children, waiting for a meal. You feel nothing but fatigue, no burst of love or energy to carry you forward. The cold iron of responsibility lies before you, heavy and unmoving. Yet you force yourself to stand. You pull out the pots, chop the vegetables, stir the broth, each motion a deliberate strike against your weariness. You don't feel heroic. You don't feel inspired. You just move, because they depend on you. As the meal comes together, something unexpected happens. Your child smiles, a small, grateful gesture, and it pierces through the numbness. The warmth of their laughter, the simple act of nourishing them, begins to thaw the cold within. You realize that each chop, each stir, was a hammer blow shaping something greater than a meal. It was care, it was love, it was purpose. The iron didn't yield easily, but your effort transformed it. The takeaway echoes like the ring of a hammer. When you feel nothing, force yourself to act, even in the smallest ways. Those actions, though they seem mundane, forge connections and strength you didn't know you had. You are the blacksmith, turning the weight of duty into a masterpiece of resilience. Let's step back and gaze into the forge of your own will. When emotions fail to guide, when the heart is silent and the mind is barren, what remains? It's you, raw, unpolished, standing before the cold iron of your challenges. The blacksmith doesn't wait for the metal to soften on its own. He strikes, again and again, until the heat rises from the effort itself. So it is with you. Momentum isn't a gift bestowed by inspiration. It's a fire you build through action. Think about it. How many times have you stalled, waiting for the right feeling to return? How many visions have you left unformed because the spark didn't ignite on its own? The truth is, feelings are fleeting, but your will is a hammer you can always wield. Your life is the anvil, and every choice to act, even when numb, is a strike that shapes your future. The cold iron of a stalled project, a strained relationship, or a personal goal doesn't care about your mood. It demands effort. It demands persistence, like a river carving through stone over centuries. Your small, consistent actions erode the impossible until it bends to your design. You don't need to feel mighty to become mighty. Strike anyway. Let the heat build from the friction of your resolve. The blacksmith knows this secret. Transformation isn't born from comfort, it's born from force. So, what cold iron stands before you now? Pick up your hammer. The heat will come. Consider the nature of cold iron. It appears lifeless, useless, a burden to be discarded. But the blacksmith sees beyond the surface. He knows that within the unyielding lies potential, waiting to be unleashed by effort. So it is with you in moments of numbness. When you feel nothing, it's easy to believe there's nothing left to give. But what if that emptiness is just a disguise? What if, beneath the frost of your spirit, a hidden glow waits to be struck into life? Have you ever paused to wonder how much strength lies dormant, buried under layers of doubt and fatigue? This is the deeper truth of building heat in the cold. Your effort reveals what emotion conceals. Each step you force yourself to take, each task you complete despite the void, is a strike that chips away at the surface, exposing the fire beneath. You are not empty. You are a forge in waiting. Like the blacksmith who trusts the process, you must trust that action, even mechanical, even joyless, will awaken something greater. The iron may resist, but it cannot defy the hammer forever. Your life, too, may resist change when you feel nothing, but it cannot withstand the steady force of your will. Keep striking. The glow is there, hidden, and every effort brings it closer to the surface. What potential are you on the verge of uncovering? Don't stop now. When the cold of numbness settles in, don't wait for warmth to find you. Build it. Start by crafting a framework, a structure to guide your actions when emotions fail. Take a page from the professional in our story. Set a rigid schedule for your most important tasks. Choose a time each day, even if it's just 30 minutes, to focus on what matters. Write it down. Commit to it. If you're working on a project, break it into the smallest possible steps. One sentence, one sketch, one email. Force yourself to complete just one. The act of starting, no matter how small, is the first strike against the cold iron. When doubt creeps in, and it will, pause. Remind yourself why you began. Write down one reason to keep going, even if it's as simple as, "I refuse to quit." Keep this note visible. Let it be your bellows, fanning the faint heat of purpose. If you falter, don't berate yourself. Reset the schedule and strike again the next day. Momentum builds not from perfection, but from persistence. You're not aiming for a masterpiece on day one. You're aiming to keep the hammer moving. Over time, those small strikes will forge something mighty. So pick your time, set your task, strike now. Even if you feel nothing, the heat will follow. In moments of exhaustion, when you feel nothing but the weight of responsibility, turn to small acts as your hammer, like the parent preparing a meal. Choose one task that serves others or yourself, a simple gesture of care. It could be cooking dinner, tidying a space, or writing a kind note. Force yourself to do it, even if every muscle protests. Break it down. Grab the ingredients, set the table, take one step at a time. Each motion is a strike, building heat in the cold of your spirit. As you act, notice the impact. Watch for a child's smile, a friend's gratitude, or even your own quiet satisfaction. These are sparks, proof that effort creates warmth. If no one notices, don't despair. The act itself is your forge, strengthening you from within. When the task is done, reflect for a moment. Ask yourself, what did this small act teach me about my resilience? Write down one word, strength, care, endurance, and let it fuel your next step. You don't need grand gestures to sustain momentum. You need consistent, deliberate ones. So, choose your small act today. Force yourself to move. Watch the cold begin to yield. As we close this forge of thought, let's hammer down the essence of building heat in the cold. When you feel nothing, when the spark of emotion refuses to guide you, remember this. Momentum is not a feeling, it's a force you create. Through rigid schedules and small acts of care, through relentless strikes against the cold iron of your challenges, you build heat where there was none. The professional's framework and the parent's quiet strength teach us that effort, even without inspiration, transforms the unyielding into something mighty. The key lesson rings true. Action, not emotion, is the forge of progress. You don't need to feel ready to become unstoppable. You need only to strike. As you move forward, carry this image with you. The blacksmith, standing in the frost, hammer raised, knowing that each blow brings the iron closer to form. Let it prepare you for the next stretch of this journey, where we'll explore how to sustain that heat through even darker winters. For now, hold fast to this truth. When the cold grips you, don't wait for warmth. Create it. Strike the iron. Forge your fire. Picture yourself on a jagged mountainside, enveloped by a fog so thick it obscures even your own hands. Each step feels heavier than the last, the summit a distant myth, and your heart, a once roaring furnace, now a flickering ember. Why keep climbing when the peak remains unseen? When every muscle screams for rest? You're not lost, though. You're ascending through the fog, and this struggle, this relentless push, is your path to rediscovery. In the theme of when you feel nothing, force yourself. This is your moment to embrace persistence, to understand that clarity and triumph are born not from ease, but from the choice to move forward when every instinct begs you to stop. Feel the weight of this journey, but know this: you are not climbing alone. We've all faced this mist, this numbness, and we've all had to force our feet to take one more step. Let's ascend together and uncover the strength that waits beyond the haze. Imagine yourself as an athlete, a runner who once flew across tracks with the wind at your back, your name echoing in cheers. But now, an injury has shackled your stride, a torn ligament, a searing pain with every step. The doctors say to rest, your mind whispers to quit, and the mirror reflects a stranger, hollowed by doubt. You feel nothing, not the thrill of the race, not the hunger for victory. Yet, you lace up your shoes each dawn, forcing yourself through grueling rehab, through runs that feel like trudging through quicksand. Why? Because somewhere, beneath the ache, a voice insists the fire isn't gone. It's just buried. Months pass, and a pivotal competition looms. You're not ready, your legs still protest, and your times are shadows of your past. But you show up. You stand at the starting line, heart thudding not with excitement, but with sheer will. The gun fires. You run, not with grace, but with grit. Each lap is a battle, each breath a defiance of the nothingness that threatened to claim you. And as you cross the finish line, perhaps not first, but standing tall, something ignites. It's not just the crowd's roar. It's the realization that you've rediscovered your drive, not in the win, but in the refusal to stop, like a lone hiker scaling a misty peak. You push through the fog of doubt and pain, and though the summit isn't a trophy, it's the clarity of knowing you still have fight left in you. The lesson rings true. Persistence, even when you feel nothing, carves the path to rediscover who you are. Now shift your gaze to a different battlefield, one not of muscle but of heart. You've lost a connection that once anchored you, a relationship with a sibling, a friend, or a partner, fractured by time, words, or silence. The warmth is gone, replaced by a void, a numbness that makes reaching out feel futile. You feel nothing, no hope, no spark, just the weight of what's lost. Yet, something compels you to act. You force yourself to show up, to send a message, to knock on their door, even when every fiber of your being expects rejection. At first, it's awkward. Conversations are stilted. Silence is louder than words. You leave each encounter drained, questioning why you bother when the fog of disconnection refuses to lift. But you keep showing up. You call on their birthday, share a small memory, or simply sit in their presence without forcing a fix. Weeks turn to months, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the mist begins to thin. A shared laugh, a moment of vulnerability. They're not grand gestures, but they're cracks of light on your mountainside. One day, as you sit together, you feel it, a flicker of the bond you thought was lost forever. You've rediscovered trust, not through magic, but through the stubborn choice to persist. Like that hiker pressing upward through blinding fog, you've learned that clarity and triumph come only when you refuse to turn back, even when hope feels distant. The takeaway is clear. Forcing yourself to act, even in numbness, rebuilds what seemed impossible. Pause for a moment and look inward. How often have you stood in a fog of your own making, unable to see the next step, let alone the summit? The numbness you feel, it's not a void, but a veil. It hides your strength, your purpose, but it cannot erase them. Think of yourself as that lone hiker scaling a misty peak. The air is cold, the path uncertain, and every part of you yearns to descend to comfort. But what if the fog is not your enemy? What if it's your teacher, testing whether you'll trust the climb even when the view is stolen from you? Persistence in the face of nothingness is not blind stubbornness. It's a sacred act of faith in your own becoming. Each step, though heavy, is a declaration that you are more than your doubts, more than your fatigue. Consider the river that carves through stone, not with force, but with relentless flow. You, too, must flow, even when you feel like a trickle. The fog will not lift on its own. It parts only for those who dare to ascend through it. So ask yourself, how many summits have you abandoned because the mist felt too thick? How many versions of yourself have you left unclaimed, just steps beyond the haze? Embrace this struggle. It's not just a climb, it's the path to rediscovering the fire that never truly left you. Let's dive deeper. When you feel nothing, the idea of forcing yourself forward feels like carrying a boulder up that misty peak. Every muscle protests, every thought rebels. Why endure such weight? Because in that struggle, you forge something unbreakable. Persistence is not a gift. It's a hammer striking raw iron, shaping you into a blade of resilience. The fog may obscure your progress, but it cannot hide the truth. Each step, no matter how small, is a victory over surrender. Think of the ancient builders of cathedrals. laying stone upon stone for decades, knowing they might never see the spire touch the sky. Their hands bled, their backs bent, yet they persisted, not for instant glory, but for a vision beyond their lifetime. You, too, are building something eternal, even if the fog of numbness hides the blueprint. What cathedral are you abandoning by pausing now? What masterpiece lies just beyond the next step? The struggle of persistence is your chisel, and every forced effort carves away the doubt, revealing the strength beneath. Ascend through the fog, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to see who you're meant to become. When the fog of nothingness surrounds you, and the urge to stop overwhelms, you need a rope to hold, a practical way to force yourself onward. First, anchor yourself with a single, tangible action. If you're rebuilding a relationship, commit to one outreach each week, whether it's a call, a note, or a shared coffee. Don't overthink the response. Focus on showing up. If you're chasing a goal like that athlete, set a micro target, 5 minutes of effort, one lap, one task. Small steps cut through the mist when grand leaps feel impossible. Second, name your why. Write down one reason to keep climbing, even if it's as simple as, I refuse to let this define me. Keep it visible, on your desk, in your pocket, and read it when doubt creeps in. Finally, rest, but don't retreat. Take a breath, not a step back. Allow a moment to recover, but set a timer, 10 minutes, an hour, then return to the ascent. These actions aren't heroic, they're deliberate. They're the footprints of a hiker who refuses to be lost in the fog. Use them to persist, to rediscover your drive, one forced step at a time. Here's another tool to wield when numbness grips you. Measure what the fog hides. You may not see the summit, but you can track the climb. If you're pushing through a personal struggle, journal each effort. Every time you force yourself to act, note it. If it's a physical goal, record the reps, the miles, the minutes, no matter how meager. If it's emotional, like rebuilding a bond, mark the moments of connection, however small. These are your breadcrumbs, proof that you're moving even when clarity eludes you. Then reflect weekly. Look back at your log and ask, what did I overcome? What kept me going? This isn't about celebrating grand wins. It's about honoring the grind. Finally, share your climb with someone, a friend, a mentor, who can remind you of your progress when the fog blinds you. Persistence isn't always felt in the moment. Sometimes it's only seen in the rear view. Keep measuring, keep forcing yourself, and trust that each step, logged and witnessed, brings you closer to rediscovery. As we stand together on this misty mountainside, let's gather the truths we've unearthed. Ascending through the fog isn't about feeling inspired every moment. It's about forcing yourself to climb when the numbness threatens to anchor you in place. You've seen it in the athlete who ran through pain to rediscover their fire, and in the quiet persistence that rebuilt a fractured bond. You've reflected on the fog as your teacher, the weight of each step as your forge, and armed yourself with practical anchors to keep moving. The key lesson remains: persistence, even when you feel nothing, is the path to clarity and triumph. It's not the absence of struggle that defines you, but the choice to ascend despite it. As you prepare to carry this strength into the next leg of our journey, hold this image close, that lone hiker, battered by wind, pressing upward through the haze. You are that hiker. The fog may linger, but the summit waits, and every forced step brings you nearer to the light. Keep climbing, for rediscovery is not a gift, it's a conquest. Ascend through the fog. Your clarity is just beyond the next step. You stand at the edge of a vast, silent expanse, where the air feels heavy with the weight of your own stillness. Have you ever felt the ache of nothing? No drive, no spark, just a hollow echo where passion once roared? Yet or beneath that emptiness, a force gathers, unseen, unstoppable, like a river pressing against a crumbling dam. This is the moment of breakthrough, the transformation that comes when you force yourself to move, to act, to shatter the barriers of apathy. Welcome to the celebration of your renewal, the rebirth of purpose after the long, grueling push through the void. In this chapter of your journey, the breakthrough beyond stillness, we honor the triumph that blooms from forcing action when you feel nothing. You've clawed through the mire, and now the floodgates are ready to burst. Are you prepared to witness the rush of your own resurrected fire? Let's step into this victory together. For the river of your potential is about to carve its path through every obstacle in its way. Picture yourself as an artist, your studio a battlefield strewn with crumpled sketches and dried up paint tubes. For months, your hands have moved, but your heart has not. Each stroke of the brush feels like dragging a stone uphill, mechanical, lifeless. You've stared at the half-finished canvas, a chaotic mess of colors that refuse to speak, and wondered if you've lost your gift forever. The world outside moves on. Others post their masterpieces, their brilliance blinding. You feel nothing, yet you force yourself to sit, to paint, to smear another line across the void. Day after day, you show up, not because you want to, but because you must. You whisper to yourself, one more stroke, one more hour. Then, one evening, as the sun dips low and casts golden shards through your window, something shifts. Your hand moves with a sudden, unfamiliar ease. The colors blend into a shape, a story, a vision you'd buried under months of doubt. You step back, breathless, as the masterpiece emerges, raw and radiant, a mirror of the struggle you've endured. The dam within you cracks, and a river of passion surges forth, flooding every corner of your being with purpose. You laugh, you tremble, tears mixing with paint on your fingers. You've broken through. This is the transformation, the renewal of your soul after forcing action through the stillness. Like a river shattering its barrier. Your unseen pressure, every forced step, every reluctant brushstroke has unleashed a torrent of creation. The lesson is clear. When you feel nothing, force yourself, for the breakthrough waits just beyond the final push. Now imagine yourself as a worker, clocking in day after day to a job that feels like a cage. You've dreamed of a promotion, a title that whispers of respect and reward. But the years have dulled that ambition to a faint hum. Meetings blur into monotony. Your inbox overflows with tasks that seem meaningless. Apathy wraps around you like a fog, and you feel nothing. No hunger, no fight. Yet somewhere deep, a stubborn ember refuses to die. So, you force yourself, you stay late, polishing reports no one might read. You volunteer for projects that stretch your limits, even when your mind screams to stop. You push, not with joy, but with grit, because giving up feels like a heavier burden than continuing. Then one ordinary Tuesday, your name is called in a meeting. The promotion is yours. The room claps, but inside you, a dam bursts. A river of forgotten ambition roars back to life, sweeping away years of numbness. You sit at your new desk, hands trembling as you realize every forced step, every late night, every silent sacrifice built the pressure that shattered this barrier. The transformation is electric. Purpose surges through you, a current of renewed drive. You've rediscovered your hunger, not because the world handed it to you, but because you forced yourself to keep moving when stillness threatened to drown you. Like a river breaking free, your persistence carved a new path. The takeaway echoes. When you feel nothing, force yourself. For the breakthrough beyond stillness is your rebirth. Let's pause and look inward. Think of the times you felt hollow, when the world seemed to spin without you. What kept you tethered to action, even when your heart was a silent drum? Beneath your stillness, a force was building, unseen, relentless, like a river swelling against a dam of doubt and fatigue. You may not have felt it, but every forced step, every choice to rise when you wanted to collapse, added to that pressure. And when the barrier finally gave way, didn't you feel the rush, the transformation, the renewed purpose It wasn't a gift from the heavens. It was forged in the quiet, grueling moments you refused to surrender. Pain is not your captor. It's the current that shapes your strength. Emptiness is not your end. It's the space where your river gathers force. Consider this. How many times have you stopped just before the dam broke? How many victories have you left unclaimed because you couldn't bear one more push? The breakthrough beyond stillness is not a distant dream. It's the inevitable result of your persistence. Like a seed-splitting stone to reach the sun, your forced action cracks the shell of apathy. You are the river, and no barrier can hold you forever. Celebrate this truth. The pressure you build through effort, even when you feel nothing, is the very force that will redefine your purpose. Let that sink in. You are not empty. You are a storm waiting to be unleashed. Now, let's dive deeper into the moment of breakthrough. Remember the instant when the weight lifted? When the river of your potential burst through every wall you thought unbreakable? That flood is not chaos. It's clarity. It's the renewal of your purpose. A reminder of why you began this journey. You forced yourself through the stillness, and now the current of passion, ambition, and drive carries you forward with a power you forgot you possessed. Like a blacksmith hammering cold steel until it glows with heat, your persistence has reshaped you into something stronger, sharper, alive. Ask yourself, what have you gained by forcing action when you felt nothing? Was it just a promotion, a completed work, or something greater, a rediscovery of your own resilience? The flood of renewal washes away the debris of doubt, leaving behind a landscape of possibility. You stand taller now, not because the struggle is over, but because you've proven to yourself that no void is permanent. The river of your spirit, once dammed by apathy, now carves canyons of purpose through every challenge. Embrace this transformation. Celebrate it. You are not merely surviving, you are becoming the force that reshapes your world. Let the flood carry you, for in its current lies the map to your next great ascent. When the dam breaks and the river of purpose surges, how do you hold on to that momentum? It's one thing to feel the rush of transformation. It's another to channel it into lasting change. Here's your guide to anchor your breakthrough. First, pause and honor the moment. Write down what you've achieved, whether it's a completed project, a personal milestone, or a rediscovered passion. Name it. See it on the page. This act roots your victory in reality. Second, identify one action that fueled this breakthrough. Was it showing up daily? Was it saying no to distraction? Commit to repeating that action. Even on days when the rush fades, consistency is the bridge between fleeting inspiration and enduring purpose. Finally, set a new horizon. The river doesn't stop after breaking the dam. It seeks new paths. Ask yourself, what's the next barrier I'm ready to shatter? Write down one goal, however small, that builds on this transformation. Break it into steps and take the first one within 24 hours. Momentum is your ally now. Guard it fiercely. When doubt creeps back, return to your written victory. Let it remind you of the pressure you've already unleashed. You've forced yourself through stillness once, you can do it again. This is how you celebrate and sustain the breakthrough beyond stillness, by turning the flood of renewal into a steady, unstoppable current. Your breakthrough is not yours alone. It's a beacon for others trapped in stillness. How can you share the current of your transformation? Start by speaking your story. Tell someone, a friend, a colleague, a stranger online, about the moment you forced yourself through nothing and broke the dam. Describe the struggle, the push, the flood of purpose that followed. Your words might be the spark they need to take their own first step. Next, offer a hand. If you see someone drowning in apathy, don't preach, listen. Ask them what's holding them back. Then share one small action that helped you move forward. Sometimes, a single idea can crack their barrier. Lastly, create something tangible from your renewal. If you're an artist, display your masterpiece. If you're a worker, mentor someone chasing the same promotion. Let your breakthrough ripple outward, Like a river nourishing the land it touches, this act of giving not only solidifies your purpose, but also builds a community of resilience. When you share your current, you multiply its power. Celebrate your transformation by lifting others into the flood of possibility. You've forced yourself beyond stillness. Now inspire others to do the same. As we close this chapter of The Breakthrough Beyond Stillness, let's stand together on the banks of your unleashed river. You've forced yourself through the void, through the heavy silence of feeling nothing, and you've shattered the dam of apathy with the relentless pressure of your action. The transformation is real. The renewed purpose, the rush of passion, the rediscovery of your own unyielding spirit. You've seen it in the artist, whose masterpiece emerged from months of forced strokes. You felt it in the worker, whose promotion reignited a buried ambition. The key lesson rings true. When you feel nothing, force yourself. For the breakthrough beyond stillness is your rebirth. Every step you took, even when your heart was numb, built the force that now carries you forward. Hold this victory close, for it's proof of your power. Let it fuel you as we prepare to journey deeper in the next chapter, where new barriers await and greater currents beckon. Remember, you are the river, and no dam can hold you forever. Celebrate this moment and let the flood of your purpose carve the path ahead. Keep pushing. Your river will always break through.